The year was 2045. Humans had just built their first small city on Mars. It was mankind's biggest step into space so far. People on Earth watched the news about Mars with pride. They thought this was the start of a great new age for humans in space. They were wrong. It was the beginning of something much bigger and much worse. On a normal Tuesday morning, strange ships appeared in the sky. They were huge, each one bigger than a football stadium. They hovered over major cities across Earth. No one knew what to do. Armies around the world went on high alert, but their weapons seemed tiny compared to these massive ships. Jack Miller watched from the roof of the Space Defense Force building in Washington. As commander of Earth's small fleet of space fighters, he knew their ships were no match for these visitors. "Sir, they're broadcasting something on all frequencies," said his assistant. Jack rushed to the control room. On every screen and device around the world, the same message played. A tall, thin alien with pale blue skin and 4 arms spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, I am Ambassador Zorvac of the Galactic Hegemony. Your planet is now under our protection. This is a great honor. We bring advanced technology and knowledge. In return, we ask only for your loyalty and resources. A treaty will be presented to your leaders. Sign it, and enjoy prosperity under our guidance." At the United Nations emergency meeting, world leaders argued about what to do. Some wanted to fight, others to surrender. They called in experts to study the message. Dr. Olivia Wright was the best xenolinguist on the planet. She had spent her life studying how language might work for alien species. Now she was faced with the real thing. "There's something wrong with their message," she told the UN Security Council. "The translator is working too perfectly, and there are hidden meanings in their choice of words. When they say protection, they mean control. When they say loyalty, they mean servitude." Jack Miller was also at the meeting. "We need time to prepare defenses," he said. "We should pretend to negotiate while we get ready to fight." The Secretary General nodded. "We'll tell them we need 2 weeks to consider their treaty." The aliens agreed to the delay, but they didn't leave. More ships arrived each day. They positioned themselves around Earth's orbit. They sent small delegations to meet with human leaders. Jack didn't trust them. He ordered his team to secretly monitor all alien communications. One night, they picked up signals going to the alien ships from somewhere on Earth. "Someone is helping them," Jack told Olivia when they met in a secure room. "They know too much about us already." Olivia had been studying the treaty. This document would make humans little more than slaves. "We can't sign it." When the 2 weeks were up, world leaders gathered at the UN again. The alien ambassador stood before them, waiting for their answer. "We need more time," said the Secretary General. "This treaty affects the future of our entire species." Ambassador Zorvac's face changed. His polite smile disappeared. "We have been patient with your primitive decision-making process. Perhaps you need a demonstration of what happens to those who delay." The large screen behind him showed a live feed of the lunar colony, where 500 scientists and engineers lived and worked. Without warning, a beam of light shot down from an alien ship. The entire colony exploded in silent fire. "You have 1 day to sign the treaty," said Zorvac, "or we will provide more demonstrations." Jack and Olivia watched in horror with the rest of humanity. In one moment, centuries of thinking humans were alone in the universe had ended. And now they knew the truth. The galaxy was ruled by an empire that saw Earth as nothing more than another conquest. "We can't fight them," whispered a general next to Jack. "We have to sign." Jack's hands tightened into fists. "If we sign, we're finished as a free species." Olivia looked at him. "So what do we do?" Jack's eyes were hard as steel. "We make them regret ever finding Earth." 6 months had passed since the aliens came. Earth's leaders had signed the treaty. They felt they had no choice after what happened to the lunar colony. The Galactic Hegemony now controlled Earth in everything but name. Jack Miller had disappeared the day after the treaty signing. The aliens had wanted to arrest him for speaking out against them, but he was gone before they could find him. Now he lived in an underground base in the Rocky Mountains with 200 other people who refused to accept alien rule. "We hit another supply depot last night," said Sam Maker, a former Army Ranger. "Got away with 3 crates of alien tech before they knew what happened." Jack nodded. These small victories kept morale up, but they needed something bigger. "Any word from our friend on the inside?" Sam handed him a tablet. "New message came an hour ago." The message was from Olivia Wright. After the treaty, she had offered to work as a translator for the hegemony. The aliens thought she was helping them understand humans better. They didn't know she was feeding information to the resistance. Her message was simple: scout ship landing at Sector 7 tonight. Minimal crew. Possible capture opportunity. Jack called his team together. "We have a chance to get something we really need. Our own alien ship." That night, 5 resistance fighters waited in the woods near an isolated area the aliens used for scout missions. The small alien ship landed, and 3 blue-skinned hegemony soldiers stepped out. "Wait until they're all outside," Jack whispered into his radio. When the moment was right, they attacked. The aliens had advanced weapons, but Jack's team had surprise on their side. They used special sonic devices that hurt the aliens' sensitive hearing. In 3 minutes, it was over. The aliens were tied up, and the ship was theirs. They flew it to a hidden hangar in the mountains. Steve Carter, a former NASA engineer, was waiting for them. "Can you make it work for us?" Jack asked. Steve examined the ship's controls. "They're designed for their 4 armed pilots, but I think I can modify them." He worked for days, trying to understand the alien technology. Then he made a surprising discovery. "Their ships are partly controlled by thought," he told Jack. "They use some kind of neural interface. And here's the interesting part. It works better with human brains than with theirs." "What does that mean?" Jack asked. "It means we might be able to fly this thing better than they can," Steve said with a smile. Meanwhile, Olivia attended a meeting at the main hegemony base near what used to be New York City. The alien leader on Earth, Overseer Drakthar, was angry. "These human attacks are becoming a problem," he said to his officers. "They are like insects, small but annoying. We must crush them completely." "What do you suggest, Overseer?" asked a lower-ranking alien. "We will establish labor camps in each sector. Any human who shows the slightest resistance will be sent there. We will increase resource extraction operations, take whatever we need: water, minerals, biological specimens. If their environment suffers, that is not our concern." Olivia kept her face calm, but inside she was furious. She sent a coded message to Jack as soon as she could. Jack read the message to his team. "They're going to step up their operations, more labor camps, more environmental destruction. What can we do?" Sam asked. "We're still too few." "Then we need to become more," Jack said. "It's time to turn our small resistance into a real rebellion." "Steve, how soon can that ship fly?" 3 days, Steve answered. "Good. We're going to show people that the aliens aren't invincible. We're going to hit them where it hurts." "And where's that?" asked Linda Cole, their communications expert. Jack showed them a map of a large alien facility in the desert, their main power relay for the western region. "When we take that out, everyone will see the hegemony can bleed." From her office in the alien headquarters, Olivia looked out at the Earth, now dotted with alien structures. The beautiful planet was being slowly destroyed by the invaders. "You wanted to see what humans are capable of," she whispered. "You're about to find out." 1 year had passed since the aliens first came to Earth. What started as a small resistance had grown into a full-scale rebellion. Humans around the world were fighting back against the hegemony. The attack on the alien power relay had been a huge success. When people saw that the aliens could be hurt, many joined the fight. Now there were resistance cells on every continent. Lisa Rodriguez led one of the most effective groups. She had been a Special Forces soldier before the invasion. Now she taught others how to fight the aliens. Never attack them head-on, she told her fighters. Hit and run. Strike fast, then disappear. The aliens weren't used to this kind of fighting. They expected enemies to face them in open battle with large armies. But humans fought differently, using the land they knew well, striking at night, and melting away before the aliens could respond. I don't understand these creatures, said Commander Vexnar of the Hegemony forces. They have no chance of winning, yet they continue to fight. Overseer Drakthar was losing patience. Send more troops. Destroy their hiding places. Burn their forests if necessary. But more troops didn't help. The humans just found new ways to fight back. Steve Carter had made another breakthrough with alien technology. He discovered that the Hegemony ships communicated through a kind of telepathic network. And this network had a weakness. Their telepathic signals operate on specific frequencies, he explained to Jack, and human brainwaves can disrupt those frequencies. Can you build something that uses this? Jack asked. Steve nodded. I've already made a prototype. He showed Jack a small device that looked like a radio. This broadcasts human brainwave patterns at the aliens' communication frequency. It confuses their ships and weapons. They can't function properly when it's turned on. Jack smiled for the first time in weeks. How many can you make? As many as we need, Steve said. The parts are simple. Lisa Rodriguez was the first to use the new device in battle. Her team attacked an alien patrol near Chicago. When they turned on Steve's device, the alien weapons stopped working. Their ships couldn't take off. For 5 minutes, the aliens were helpless. It works. Lisa told Jack over their secure line. We took out an entire patrol without losing anyone. Word spread quickly among the resistance. Soon, every group had disruption devices. The aliens could no longer predict where humans would strike or communicate effectively during attacks. Olivia Wright had risen in the ranks of the Hegemony's human staff. The aliens trusted her because she seemed to help them understand human behavior. But she was carefully gathering every piece of information she could find. One day, she discovered something important in the aliens' central database. The Hegemony controlled over 300 planets across the galaxy. But on many of these worlds, there were also resistance movements. We're not alone in this fight, she told Jack during a rare secret meeting. Other species are fighting too, but they don't know about each other. The Hegemony keeps them isolated. Can we contact them? Jack asked. Not directly, Olivia said, but I might be able to send messages through the Hegemony's own communication system. The Hegemony Council, the supreme leaders of the alien empire, called an emergency meeting. Reports from Earth were troubling. The humans are becoming a serious problem, said High Counselor Ziv Mera. Their resistance is spreading. Send more ships, suggested another counselor. Crush them completely. We've already sent more ships, Ziv Mera replied. They keep adapting to our tactics. They've even found ways to disable our technology temporarily. How is this possible? They are primitive. That was our mistake, Ziv Mera admitted. We underestimated them. These humans are different from other species we've conquered. They're unpredictable, creative, and they never stop fighting. For the first time, in thousands of years, the mighty Hegemony faced an enemy they couldn't easily defeat, and they were beginning to worry. Back on Earth, Jack Miller looked at a map showing resistance strongholds around the world. It's time to take this to the next level, he said. We've shown we can hurt them. Now let's show them we can win. 2 years had passed since the aliens arrived. The human resistance was no longer just fighting to survive. They were ready to strike back. Jack Miller stood in the control room of their hidden base. Around him were screens showing their forces around the world. It had taken months to prepare for this day. Is everyone in position? He asked. All teams report ready, said Linda Cole, who ran communications. And our special surprise. Steve Carter nodded. The ships are ready. We have 12 of them now. Over the past year, the Resistance had captured more alien vessels. Steve and his team had modified them, making them work better with human pilots. They had also added Earth weapons that the aliens wouldn't expect. "Start the operation," Jack ordered. Around the world, resistance fighters launched coordinated attacks on hegemony bases. But this time, they weren't just hitting and running. They were taking control. Lisa Rodriguez led the ground attack on the main alien base on the East Coast. Her fighters carried Steve's disruption devices, which shut down alien communications and weapons. "Move fast," she told her team. "We have 20 minutes before they adapt." The aliens were caught by surprise. They had grown used to small attacks, not a full assault. They tried to call for help, but their signals were blocked. In space, Jack led the stolen ships toward Mars. The aliens had built their command center there, thinking it was safely out of human reach. They were wrong. "Enemy ships approaching," warned his co-pilot. Jack smiled. "Let's show them what these ships can really do." The alien vessels fired, expecting an easy victory. But the human-modified ships were faster and more agile. Jack and his pilots had practiced for months. They moved in ways the aliens never expected, using maneuvers from old fighter pilot handbooks that no alien would have studied. On Earth, Olivia Wright sat in the hegemony central communication hub. For weeks, she had been secretly sending messages to other planets under hegemony control, telling them about Earth's resistance. Now she sent one final message. "The time is now. Earth is rising. Join us." Across the galaxy, other oppressed species received her message. Many had been waiting for such a moment. Rebellion sparked on dozens of worlds, all at once. Lisa's forces fought their way into the heart of the alien base. The hegemony soldiers retreated in confusion, never expecting humans to be so bold. In the command center, Lisa found what they were looking for: the aliens' main Earth database. She plugged in a device Steve had given her, copying everything. "We've got it," she radioed to Jack. "All their plans, their weaknesses, everything." In space, Jack's fleet had reached the Mars command center. The battle was fierce, but the human pilots were winning. For the first time, the hegemony was losing a major battle. "Their defenses are down," reported one of Jack's pilots. "We can hit the command center now." Jack gave the order, and the human ships fired together. The massive alien structure exploded in flames. Back in the Hegemony Council chamber, far across the galaxy, alarms spread quickly. "We've lost contact with the Mars Command," reported a messenger, "and we're getting reports of uprisings on multiple worlds." High Counselor Ziv Mera couldn't believe it. "How is this possible? How could primitive humans cause so much damage?" Another counselor spoke up. "We have two choices. We can pull back from Earth and deal with the other rebellions, or we can destroy the humans completely." "What do you mean?" asked Ziv Mera. "Use the planet killer weapon. End the human threat once and for all." There was silence in the council chamber. The planet killer had only been used twice in the hegemony's long history. It was a last resort. "The humans leave us no choice," Ziv Mera finally said. "Prepare the weapon." On Earth, celebrations broke out as news of the victory spread. For the first time in 2 years, people felt hope. The resistance had shown that the aliens could be beaten. Jack returned to Earth a hero, but he knew their fight was far from over. "What's our next move?" Lisa asked during the victory gathering. Jack was about to answer when Steve rushed in, his face pale. "We just intercepted an alien transmission," he said. "They're bringing something called a planet killer to Earth." The room went silent. Then Jack spoke, his voice firm. "Then we'd better find a way to stop it." 3 years had passed since the alien invasion began. Earth was no longer fighting alone. The rebellion had spread to countless worlds across the galaxy. Jack Miller's fleet had grown. Now he commanded 30 ships, some from Earth and others crewed by aliens who had joined the fight against the hegemony. They called themselves the Allied Resistance Fleet. "Our target is the supply depot in the Arcturus system," Jack told his captains. The hegemony uses it to fuel their warships. If we destroy it, their fleet will be crippled for months. The attack was successful. The hegemony was now fighting battles on too many fronts. They couldn't protect all their bases. On a distant planet called Nar, Lisa Rodriguez trained alien fighters. Some had 4 arms like the hegemony rulers. Others had scales or fur, but all wanted freedom. Humans fight differently than other species, she explained to her students. We don't try to match our enemy's strength. We find their weakness and strike there. An alien with gray skin and large eyes raised his hand. But the hegemony has ruled for thousands of years. How can we win? Lisa smiled. Because they've never fought humans before. Back on Earth, Steve Carter worked day and night in his lab. The data they had stolen from the alien base contained information about the planet killer weapon. It was worse than they had feared. It doesn't just destroy the surface, he explained to Jack over a secure video call. It breaks a planet apart at its core. There's no surviving it. Can we stop it? Jack asked. Maybe. I have an idea, but it's risky. I need more time. How much time? Steve looked tired. A week, maybe less. Work fast, Jack said. Our scouts report the weapon is already on its way. In the heart of hegemony territory, Olivia Wright had taken her biggest risk yet. She had managed to get access to the aliens' central broadcasting system that reached every hegemony ship and base. When the time was right, she would send a message that everyone in the galaxy would hear. The planet killer arrived in Earth's solar system. It was massive, larger than any ship humans had ever seen. It positioned itself near Jupiter, preparing to approach Earth. Jack gathered all available ships to intercept it. They were outnumbered, but they had to try. All ships, prepare for battle, he ordered. Remember what we're fighting for. The Allied fleet engaged the hegemony ships protecting the planet killer. The battle was fierce. Jack's pilots fought bravely, but the enemy was too strong. Then Steve Carter contacted him. Jack, I figured it out. The planet killer has a resonance frequency. If we hit it with exactly the right energy pulse, we can reverse its power. What does that mean? Jack asked as his ship shook from enemy fire. It means we can make it destroy itself, or anything else we pointed at. Steve transmitted the plans to Jack's ship. It would take all their remaining power to generate the pulse. We only get one shot at this, Jack told his crew. Make it count. They maneuvered closer to the planet killer, taking heavy damage. When they were in position, Jack gave the order. Fire the pulse. A beam of energy shot from their ship and hit the planet killer. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the massive weapon began to glow. It's working, shouted Jack's science officer. The planet killer turned, as if pulled by an invisible force. It moved away from Earth and toward the hegemony flagship, where the Supreme Commander directed the battle. The alien commander tried to escape, but it was too late. The planet killer fired, destroying the flagship and itself in a blinding explosion. At that exact moment, Olivia activated her broadcast. Across the galaxy, on thousands of ships and planets, everyone saw the hegemony's ultimate weapon destroyed by humans. People of the galaxy, Olivia said, her voice reaching every corner of the hegemony empire. The Supreme Commander is dead. The planet killer is destroyed. Earth has shown that the hegemony is not invincible. Join us. Fight for your freedom. Together, we can end their rule forever. On hundreds of worlds, people who had lived under hegemony control for generations looked up at the broadcast, and they began to hope. In his ship, damaged but still flying, Jack Miller watched the remains of the hegemony fleet retreat. We did it, said his co-pilot. We saved Earth. Jack shook his head. This isn't just about Earth anymore. It's about freeing the galaxy. 4 years had passed since the aliens first came to Earth. The Galactic hegemony, once the unchallenged ruler of countless worlds, was losing control. Jack Miller, now admiral of the Allied resistance fleet, stood on the bridge of his flagship. Through the view screen, he watched as ships from 20 different species gathered for their next attack. The hegemony has pulled most of their forces back to protect their core worlds, said his alien second-in-command, a tall being named Krell from a planet called Voros. They've abandoned their outer territories. Jack nodded. Then we hit them where they live. The plan was bold. Until now, they had focused on freeing planets from hegemony control. Now they would strike at the heart of the Empire itself. Back on Earth, Lisa Rodriguez prepared for her most dangerous mission yet. She would lead a special team to infiltrate the hegemony's central database on their fortress world, Dominax. "This is what we're looking for," she told her team, showing them images of a massive computer core. It contains the secrets of technologies the hegemony has kept from other species for centuries. Her team included humans and aliens with special skills. They had trained together for months. Each knew that many might not return. On Dominax, they landed in a stolen hegemony ship. Using fake identification codes Olivia had provided, they entered the heavily guarded complex. "We have 4 hours before they discover we're here," Lisa told them. "Move fast and stay quiet." They'd fought their way to the central chamber where the database was kept. While her team held off security forces, Lisa connected a device Steve Carter had built. It began downloading thousands of years of secret technology. 60% complete, she muttered, watching the progress bar. Alarms blared around them. "Come on, faster." Meanwhile, in the Grand Council chamber of the hegemony, the remaining leaders faced a crisis like none before. "We have lost control of 40% of our territory," reported a military commander. "Rebellions continue to spread. The humans share their tactics and technology with everyone." High Counselor Ziv Mera, now the supreme leader after the death of the supreme commander, pounded his fist on the table. "This cannot continue. We ruled the galaxy before these humans were even walking upright." An older counselor spoke up. "Perhaps it is time to negotiate. Offer them terms." "Never," Ziv Mera shouted. "I will not be remembered as the leader who surrendered to primitives." He turned to a scientist standing nearby. "Is Project Extinction ready?" The scientist nodded slowly. "The bioweapons are prepared, but using them would violate our most sacred laws. They could kill billions across many worlds." "Laws?" Ziv Mera laughed bitterly. "What good are laws if our empire falls? Send the order. Any world that does not immediately surrender will face extinction." On Dominax, Lisa's team completed their mission. The download was finished. As they fought their way back to their ship, Lisa sent the stolen data to Steve Carter on Earth. Steve was shocked by what he found. "This is incredible," he told Jack over their secure channel. "Faster than light travel without gates, energy shields that can protect entire planets, medical technology that can cure almost any disease." "And weapons?" Jack asked. "Yes," Steve said grimly, "including details about their bioweapons program. Jack, they're planning to release deadly plagues on any world that resists them." Jack's face hardened. "Can you develop protection against these weapons?" "With this data, yes. I'll need help, but we can create shields and vaccines." Olivia Wright, still deep undercover in hegemony territory, learned about Project Extinction and sent an urgent warning to all resistance worlds. "Prepare for biological attack. The hegemony plans to release deadly plagues." When the hegemony ships arrived at the first target world, ready to release their bioweapons, they found something unexpected. The planet was surrounded by a new type of energy shield that their weapons couldn't penetrate. World after world had the same protection. The stolen technology, combined with human innovation, had created defenses the hegemony never expected. In his council chamber, Ziv Mera received the news with growing horror. Impossible. How did they develop shields so quickly? A messenger entered the room, trembling. "High Counselor, we've just received word. The Allied fleet is approaching our homeworld. They will be here in 3 days." For the first time in the hegemony's long history, Its leaders felt real fear. Their empire was crumbling, and the humans they had once dismissed as primitives were leading the charge. 5 years had passed since the aliens first came to Earth. The day of the final battle had arrived. Jack Miller stood on the bridge of his flagship as the Allied resistance fleet prepared to attack the hegemony homeworld. Through the view screen, he could see hundreds of ships from dozens of different worlds. They had all joined together for this moment. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said Krell. Jack took a deep breath. "Begin the attack." The Allied fleet moved forward, entering the space around the hegemony homeworld. They were met by the largest collection of enemy ships they had ever faced. The hegemony had called in every remaining vessel to defend their capital. "Enemy ships approaching," reported the tactical officer. "They outnumber us 3-1. "Numbers aren't everything," Jack said. "We've beaten worse odds." The battle began. Laser fire and explosions lit up the darkness of space. Jack's pilots used every trick they had learned over years of fighting. They moved in patterns the hegemony couldn't predict, attacking from multiple directions at once. On Earth, Steve Carter watched the battle through long-range sensors. He couldn't be there in person. His skills were needed to coordinate the technical aspects of the attack. "The hegemony defenses are stronger than we expected," he told his team. "We need to give Jack's fleet more firepower." He activated a new weapon they had developed from the stolen alien technology. It didn't destroy enemy ships. Instead, it disabled them, giving their crews a chance to surrender. "Target their command ships first," Steve told his operators. "Cut off their leadership." On the hegemony homeworld, Lisa Rodriguez and her Special Forces team had landed secretly the night before. Their mission was to capture the Hegemony Council and end the war once and for all. "Security is tight," said one of her soldiers as they watched the palace from hiding. Lisa nodded. "That's why they won't expect us to walk in the front door." Using disguises and identification codes Olivia had provided, they entered the massive palace complex. The alien guards were focused on the battle in space, not on checking IDs too carefully. Once inside, they moved quickly toward the central chamber, where the Hegemony Council would be directing the defense of their world. Back in space, the battle raged on. Jack's ship took heavy damage from enemy fire. "Shields down to 30%, reported his engineer. "We can't take much more of this." Then Steve's new weapon activated. Across the battlefield, Hegemony command ships suddenly lost power. Without orders, the rest of their fleet fell into confusion. "Now's our chance," Jack said. "All ships target their main defense station." The Allied fleet concentrated their fire on a massive space station that controlled the hegemony's orbital weapons. After intense bombardment, it exploded in a ball of fire. "The way to the planet is clear," Krell said. "Shall we begin the ground invasion?" Jack shook his head. "No. Too many innocent people would die. Let's give Lisa's team time to complete their mission." In the palace, Lisa and her team reached the doors of the council chamber. They could hear angry voices inside as the hegemony leaders argued about how to respond to the attack. "Ready?" Lisa asked her team. They nodded, weapons prepared. They burst into the room. The alien counselors were shocked to see them. Guards moved to attack, but Lisa's team was faster. After a short fight, they had control of the room. High Counselor Ziv Mera stood defiant. "You may kill us, but the hegemony will never surrender to primitives." Lisa didn't raise her weapon. "We're not here to kill you. We're here to end this war." At that moment, Olivia Wright stepped into the chamber. For years, she had worked undercover. Now she revealed herself as a key leader of the resistance. "The time of the hegemony is over," she told Ziv Mera. "But it doesn't have to end in more bloodshed." She activated a communicator that broadcast to the entire palace, the planet, and every hegemony ship. "This is Dr. Olivia Wright of Earth. The Hegemony Council is now in our custody. The defense station has been destroyed. Your fleet is disabled. We offer you a choice. Surrender and help build a new, fair galactic society, or continue a war you cannot win. In space, Jack watched as hegemony ships began powering down their weapons. One by one, they signaled their surrender. "We did it," Krell said in amazement. "We actually won." Jack smiled, but he knew this was just the beginning. "Winning the war was the easy part," he said. "Now we have to win the peace." 1 year had passed since the fall of the hegemony. The galaxy was rebuilding under a new system called the Federation of Free Worlds. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than the old empire. Jack Miller walked through the grand hall of the new Federation headquarters. Once this had been the palace of the hegemony leaders. Now it was a place where representatives from hundreds of worlds met as equals. Jack no longer wore a military uniform. He was now an ambassador, helping former enemies find common ground. Ambassador Miller called a voice. It was Krell, his former second-in-command. "The council is ready for you." In the main chamber, representatives from 50 worlds waited. Some were human, but most were aliens of different shapes, sizes, and colors. All had fought together to end hegemony rule. "Earth has a proposal for the new defense force," Jack told them. "We believe every world should contribute ships and soldiers, but no single planet should command the entire fleet. Power should be shared." After years of hegemony control, some worlds were suspicious of any central authority, but they respected Jack and listened to his ideas. On a training field in another part of the Federation complex, Lisa Rodriguez watched as soldiers from 20 different species practiced working together. She had been asked to create a peacekeeping force that could protect Federation worlds from threats. "Remember," she told them, "we're not here to conquer or control. We're here to protect those who can't protect themselves." An alien trainee with blue skin raised his hand. "But what if a world wants to leave the Federation? Do we force them to stay?" Lisa shook her head. "No. Every world is free to choose its own path. That's the difference between us and the hegemony." In a massive research center on Earth, Steve Carter led scientists from across the galaxy. They were studying the technologies that the hegemony had kept secret for centuries. For too long, advanced technology was used to keep some worlds powerful and others weak. Steve told a group of visiting officials, "Now we share knowledge freely. Every discovery, every innovation belongs to all of us." They had already made amazing progress. New medical treatments were saving lives on hundreds of worlds. Clean energy systems were replacing polluting technologies. Ships could travel faster than ever before, connecting distant planets. Olivia Wright had perhaps the most difficult job of all. She led the committee creating a new galactic constitution. After years of working undercover, she now used her deep understanding of different cultures to help build something new. "The first principle must be equality," she told the Constitutional Assembly. "No species, no world can be placed above others. The second principle is freedom, and the third is cooperation." Some former hegemony worlds resisted the new order. They had benefited from the old system and didn't want to give up their privileges. But most joined the Federation, seeing a better future in cooperation than in conflict. Peace was still fragile. There were arguments, misunderstandings, and old hatreds to overcome. But day by day, the galaxy was healing. Then one day, alarms sounded across the Federation network. A group of former hegemony military leaders had gathered a fleet. They were attacking Federation outposts, trying to restore the old empire. "They're heading for Earth," reported a Federation officer. "They want revenge for their defeat." Defense ships from across the Federation responded to the call. But it was ships from worlds that had once been bitter enemies of humans that arrived first to defend Earth. When the rebel hegemony fleet appeared near Earth, they found not just Earth's defenses waiting for them, but vessels from 50 different worlds. Together, they formed an unbreakable line. The rebel commander looked at the massive force opposing him and realized what had happened. The galaxy had changed. The days when planets stood alone, when powerful empires could bully weaker worlds, were over. After a brief exchange of fire, the rebels surrendered. They had learned what the hegemony learned 5 years ago. Earth was not to be trifled with. And now Earth had friends across the stars. In the Federation Council chamber, Jack Miller watched the news of the victory with a smile. He thought back to that day when alien ships first appeared above Earth, how helpless humans had felt, how the aliens had looked down on them as primitives. They had no idea what they were starting, he said quietly. Olivia Wright, sitting nearby, heard him and nodded. I think there's an old Earth saying that fits perfectly. What's that? Jack asked. She smiled. Mess around and find out.